We're going to work on adding a way to open this, and we're also going to bring these down a little bit because I think I pulled them up a bit too far. And then we're going to get started on the toilet here. So we're just going to make a simple room for where you can go to the bathroom if you need to. We'll make it so we can open up this door, and then eventually we'll make some interior parts like the toilet seat and somewhere to wash your hands. But for now we're just going to keep it simple like this. So we're going to go back to our Blender file. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe. We're going to select the overhead compartments, and then we're going to do Shift H to hide everything else. You can do Z to get out of wireframe. We're going to turn off the mirror modifier for a minute so that we only have one side to see. And we're going to tab into object mode. We're going to switch to face select if you're not in face select already. The handle to open up this compartment is right on this part right here. So we're going to select this face, and if you want to, you can do period on the number pad to focus in on this. And actually, before we do this, I'm just going to show you how to bring these down a little bit if you want to. So we're just going to select these two, and you can switch this to median point if you want, and then just bring this down a little bit, and then bring this one down a little bit if you want to. Once you've done that, you're going to want to select this face and do delete and choose faces. Then go to vertex select, alt right click, alt and shift right click, then do F and then do Y to separate this again. And now we have that pulled down just a little bit more, and we still have that face there. So that's all set and ready to go. So we're going to go back into face select, and we're going to select this face here. It's the very center one on this area. We're going to do I to inset it and do a small inset. Then we're going to do S and Y to scale this down. And you're going to want to make this about as big as you want your little handle part. So that's probably going to be fine. Then we're going to switch to edge select, and we're going to select all these edges that are connecting to these vertices at this point. We're going to do delete and choose edges. We're going to switch to vertex select and select these four vertices. Then we're going to do Control Shift B to do a vertex bevel and do a small vertex bevel here. Then we're going to Alt right click to get all of these. And we can do Alt and Shift right click and then Alt and Shift right click again to get these two edges here. And we can even go to edge select and select this edge just to make sure we have that edge as well. And then we can do Alt F to fill this in. We're going to go back to face select, select this face. We're going to do I to inset and do a small inset. We're going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel. And then we're going to bring this back some. Then you can switch to vertex select, Z for wireframe, C for circle select, middle mouse, deselect. And then you can bring this part down some. And if you want to, bring it back some as well. And I actually want to bring these in on the Y direction, so we're going to do S and then Y to scale it a bit on the Y axis. And kind of make it skinnier at the top, or kind of have it taper off towards the top. And then I'm actually going to select these bottom ones again. So just select the bottom ones, and I'm going to bring mine back a bit more. And we'll see how that looks. That looks alright. And then we just want to get rid of these n-gons, so I'm going to select these two vertices and do J to join those together. And then do the same on the other side, just select these two and then J to join, so we have quads everywhere. And that should look alright. If you want to adjust it a bit, like if you want to move this back some, just select these vertices here and just bring it back some until you're happy with what you have. That looks okay, I guess. But maybe I'm just going to leave it the way it was. I kind of like the angle to that. So just make some adjustments to make it fit however you think looks the best. To make the toilet area, we're going to start by using part of the bus. So we're going to do Alt-H. In object mode, we're going to do Alt-H to unhide everything. We're going to right click to select the bus, and we're going to tab into edit mode. Go to face select, and we're going to select these three faces. Then we're going to do Shift D to duplicate, right click to cancel, and you're just going to bring them in slightly on the x-axis. You can do Z for wireframe if you want, period to focus in if you need to. Just bring it in very slightly, and that should be fine. Then we're going to do P to separate this, and we're going to choose selection. Then we're going to tab into object mode, and we're going to select that newly created piece. It's easier to do it in a wireframe. Then you're going to do Shift H to hide everything else. Tab into edit mode. We're actually going to get rid of this mirror modifier, so we're going to just click the X. And we're going to select these three faces. We're going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel, and we're going to bring them in this direction, so towards the center line. Then we're going to do S, X, and 0 and press enter to make it flat on the X-axis. And then we're just going to bring it forward a little bit. If you want to, you can tab into object mode, do Alt-H, and then select the bus, and do 7 for top view, Z for wireframe. And I'm actually going to select this piece, which is that piece we just newly created. So what I would like to do is make sure that it's about the same width as these seats, so that it's not sticking out too far. So you just want to tab into edit mode, and then you can adjust it here on the X-axis, but mine looks like it's pretty much right where it needs to be. And you can do the same with this. You can select these faces on this side, so the faces that are over here, and then just bring it back like that. And I'm actually going to have it sit probably about halfway between the seat, because I think actually these seats, even though, well, it does show that there are seats here, I guess, in the picture. So we may be getting rid of these seats, maybe not. We'll see what happens. And you can also go to side view and take a look at this and just position this how you want it to be. And we could even bring this back a bit further if we want to keep these seats. So once you have the dimensions that you're happy with, you can just tab into object mode and do Shift H to hide everything else. And then you can go back to edit mode. We're going to use a modifier, so I'm going to add this modifier now. Just add the bevel modifier with 2 segments and change the angle to 40. So you want to change the limit method to angle and change the degrees to 40. Then we're going to do A twice and do Control N to recalculate the normals. And I'm going to switch to vertex select. We're going to do Control R. We're going to left click and drag this to about here. Then we're going to do Control R, left click, and drag this to about here. And I'm going to adjust this one slightly over. Then we're going to go to face select. We're going to select these 3 faces here. We're going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel. And then we're going to bring them a bit forward in the X direction, so we have a little piece sticking out like this. We're going to go to edge select. We're going to select these edges. We're going to do Control B and do a small bevel there, so we have a nice bevel on that corner there. We can go to vertex select and select these 2 and press J to join. Do the same on the bottom, select these 2 and J to join. We're going to switch to face select, and then we're going to select these 3 faces. We're going to do I and then do a small inset. We're going to switch to vertex select. We're going to do Control 3 for left view, and we're going to zoom in. Then we're going to do K for the knife cut tool. We're going to left click and then do C to make it a straight line, and left click on this line and press enter. Do the same on the other side. Do K, left click on this vertex, C to make a straight line, then left click on this edge and press enter. Now select this vertex, shift select this one, Alt M at last. Select this one, shift select this one, Alt M at last. Then we're going to add in an edge loop around here, so we're going to do Control R, we're going to left click right click, so you should have an edge loop all the way around. Then what you're going to do is just bring it back some, so you're going to bring it back on the X-axis slightly. Once that's done, we're going to go to the bottom here, and we're going to select this vertex, and then shift select this one and J to join, and do the same on the bottom on this side. Just join those together by pressing J. So now you should have this right here. So we're going to go to face select. We're going to select these faces, and we're going to do Y to separate it into a different piece. Then we're going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel, and just bring this back slightly on the X-axis so we have a little depth here for our door. Then you can do Control L and Control N to recalculate the normals. So now we have our nice little door and the rest of this here. If you want to open the door, you can go to Edge Select and select this edge here, and then do Shift S cursor to selected, switch this to 3D cursor, go to face select, select the face here, do Control L, and then do R and then Z to rotate this, and you can now see your door is opening. You do want to keep it in the closed position though, that'll make it easier for later. So if you do open it and left click, you're going to want to do Control Z to put it back into the correct position, because that's where we're going to want it. That's the best place to have it. So this is our basic little bathroom here, so we're going to save it by going to File and Save. Thank you to our awesome Patreon supporters. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter yourself, head on over to patreon.com/StephenBrooks. Thank you for your support.